Namaste, Dhanavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti and Madhava Puri Maharaj, we're here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 3, Text 24. Tate niriksho na pitapideha krid, daksho mamadvit tad anuvratas chaye, yovish vasrigyagya gatam varorumam, angasam dorvachasakarottira. Therefore you should not see your father, although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. Because of his envy, O most worshipful one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. Purport. For a woman, both the husband and the father are equally worshipable. The husband is the protector of a woman during her youthful life, whereas the father is a protector during her childhood. Thus both are worshipable, but especially the father because he is the giver of the body. Lord Śiva reminded Satī, your father is undoubtedly worshipable, even more than I am, but take care, for although he is the giver of your body, he may also be the taker of your body, because when you see your father, he may insult you because of your association with me. An insult from a relative is worse than death, especially when one is well situated. Text 25. Yadi Rajisasyati Hayamadvacho Bhadram Bhavatya na tato bhavisyati Sambhavitasya svajanat parabhavo Yadasa sadyo maranaya kalpate. If in spite of this instruction you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are most respectable, and when you are insulted by your relative, this insult will immediately be equal to death. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 3rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Talks between Lord Śiva and Satī. Chapter 4. Satī quits her body. Text 1. Maitreya uvacha itavad uktva vira rama sankara patyanga nasam hubhayatras chintayan Sridhidrakshu parisan kita bhavan Niskramati nirvisati dvidasasa. The sage Maitreya said, Lord Śiva was silent after speaking to Satī, seeing her between decisions. Satī was very much anxious to see her relatives at her father's house, but at the same time she was afraid of Lord Śiva's warning. Her mind unsettled, she moved in and out of the room as a swing moves this way and that way. Purport. Satī's mind was divided about whether to go to her father's house or obey the orders of Lord Śiva. The struggle between the two decisions was so strong that she was pushed from one side of the room to another, and she began to move just like the pendulum of a clock. Text 2. Sridhidraksha pratigata durmana snehad rudhatyasru kalati vivala bhavam bhavanya prati purusham rusa pradhakshati vaikshata jatave patu. Satī felt very sorry for being forbidden to go see her relatives at her father's house, and due to affection for them, tears fell from her eyes. Shaking and very much afflicted, she looked at her uncommon husband, Lord Śiva, as if she were going to blast him with her vision. Purport. The word aprati purusham means in this verse one who has no equal. Lord Shiva has no equal in the material world in regard to equality toward everyone. His wife, Satī, knew that her husband was equal towards everyone, so why in this case was he so unkind to his wife that he did not allow her to go to her father's house? This distressed her more than she could tolerate, and she looked at her husband as if she were ready to blast him with her vision. In other words, since Lord Shiva is the Atma, Shiva also means Atma, it is indicated here that Satī prepared to commit suicide. She was prepared to commit suicide. Another meaning of the word Aprati Purusha is the personality who has no rival. Since Lord Shiva could not be persuaded to give her permission, Satī took shelter of a woman's last weapon, weeping, which forces a husband to agree to the proposal of his wife. Text 3. Tato vinhispasya Satī vihayatam Sokena rosena chaduyata hrida Pitror agat strena vimudhadir grahan Premnatmano yo hridam adat satam priya. Thereafter, Satī left her husband, Lord Shiva, who had given her half his body due to affection. Breathing very heavily because of anger and bereavement, she went to the house of her father. This less intelligent act was due to her being a weak woman. Purport. According to the Vedic conception of family life, the husband gives half his body to his wife, and the wife gives half of her body to her husband. In other words, a husband without a wife or a wife without a husband is incomplete. Vedic marital relationship existed between Lord Shiva and Satī, but sometimes due to weakness, a woman becomes very much attracted by the members of her father's house, and this happened to Satī. In this verse, it is specifically mentioned that she wanted to leave such a great husband as Shiva because of her womanly weakness. In other words, womanly weakness exists even in the relationship between husband and wife. Generally, separation between husband and wife is due to womanly behavior. Divorce takes place due to womanly weakness. The best course for a woman is to abide by the orders of her husband. That makes family life very peaceful. Sometimes there may be misunderstandings between husband and wife, as found even in such an elevated family relationship as that of Satī and Lord Shiva, but a wife should not leave her husband's protection because of such a misunderstanding. If she does so, it is understood to be due to her womanly weakness. Text 4. Tam anvagachindruta vikramam satim ekam trinetranuchara sahasrasa saparshada yaksha mani manmadhadya puru vrishendrastarasagatavyata. When they saw Satī leaving alone very rapidly, thousands of Lord Shiva's disciples headed by Maniman and Madhava quickly followed her with his bull Nandi in front and accompanied by the Yakshas. Purport. Satī was going very fast so that she might not be checked by her husband, but she was immediately followed by the many thousands of disciples of Lord Shiva, headed by the Yakshas, Maniman, and Madhava. The word gatavyataha, used in this connection, means without fear. Satī did not care that she was going alone. Therefore, she was almost fearless. The word anuchara is also significant, for it indicates that Lord Shiva's disciples were always ready to sacrifice anything for Lord Shiva. All of them could understand the desire of Shiva, who did not want Satī to go alone. Anuchara. Anuchara means those who can immediately understand the purpose of their master. Text 5. Tam sarika kanduka darpanambuja Sritat patra vyajana srag adhibihi Gitayaner dundubi shankavenubir Rishandram aropya vitankitayayo. The disciples of Lord Śiva arranged for Satī to be seated on the back of a bull and give her the bird which was her pet. They bore a lotus flower, a mirror, and all such paraphernalia for her enjoyment, covered her with a great canopy, followed by a singing party with drums, conch shells, and bugles. The entire procession was as pompous as a royal parade. 6. Abrahma Gosurjita Yagya Vaishasham. Abrahma Gosurjita Yagya Vaishasham. Viprarshi Justam Vidubhais Cha Sarvasaha. Mridharvaya Kanchana Darbakambahir. Nishrista Bandham Yajanam Samasvisat. She then reached her father's house, where the great sacrifice was being performed, and entered the arena where everyone was chanting the Vedic hymns. The great sages, brahmanas, and demigods were all assembled there, and there were many sacrificial animals, as well as pots of clay, stone, gold, grass, and skin, which were all requisite for the sacrifice. Purport. When learned sages and brahmanas assemble to chant Vedic mantras, some of them also engage in arguing about the conclusion of the scriptures. Thus, some of the sages and brahmanas were arguing, and some of them were chanting the Vedic mantras, so the entire atmosphere was surcharged with transcendental sound vibration. This transcendental sound vibration has been simplified in the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In this age, no one is expected to be highly educated in the Vedic ways of understanding because people are very slow, lazy, and unfortunate. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has recommended the sound vibration Hare Krishna, and in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32, it is also recommended Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumedhasa. At the present moment, it is impossible to gather sacrificial necessities because of the poverty of the population and their lack of knowledge in Vedic mantras. Therefore, this age is recommended that people gather together and chant the Hare Krishna mantra to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is accompanied by who is accompanied by his associates. Indirectly, this indicates Lord Chaitanya, who is accompanied by his associates Nityananda, Advaita, and others. That is the process of performing yajna in this age. Another significant point in this verse is that there were animals for sacrifice. That these animals were meant for sacrifice does not mean that they were meant to be killed. The great sages and realized souls assembled were performing yajnas, and their realization was tested by animal sacrifice, just as in modern science, tests are made on animals to determine the effectiveness of a particular medicine. The brahmanas entrusted with the performance of yajna were very realized souls, and to test their realization, an old animal was offered in the fire and rejuvenated. That was the test of Vedic mantra. The animals gathered were not meant to be killed and eaten. The real purpose of sacrifice was not to replace the slaughterhouse, but to test Vedic mantra by giving an animal new life. Animals were used to test the power of Vedic mantras, not for meat. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 7 on Wednesday. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to The assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Navadvip Dham ki jai, Nishangapali Dham ki jai, Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju ki jai, Ganga Mai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Gupta Govardhan Dham, Gir Govind Gupta Govardhan Dham ki jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund ki jai, Tulsi Devi, Bhakti Devi, Vrinda Devi ki jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagi ki jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagi ki jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol. Dandavat Pranam.